This was arguably the hardest interview in the world. The 8 candidates were instantly stunned when they received their test papers because the test paper handed out by the examiner was simply a blank sheet of paper. Although the candidates were very confused, no one dared to speak up, because before the examiner had announced 3 rules. First, no talking to the examiner or the security guards. Second, no leaving the room without permission. Third, no dirtying or damaging the test paper. Anyone who broke any of these rules would be eliminated and lose the chance of a $5 million annual salary.
You will be disqualified.
Seeing that the candidates didn't say anything, the examiner immediately started an 80-minute countdown and then left the examination room. The candidates stared at the blank sheet, very puzzled, as they had no idea what the questions were. It seemed that this high-paying job was not going to be easy to get. As time passed, one of the women couldn't hold it in any longer. She thought that perhaps the boss had given them the blank sheet because he wanted them to write a career report. So she immediately picked up her pen and began writing. But as soon as she wrote her name, the security guard walked up to her and mercilessly kicked her out of the exam room. It turned out that she had violated the rule of dirtying the test paper. Seeing the woman eliminated for writing her name on the test paper, the others quickly put down their pens and dared not write anything on the paper anymore. As everyone was thinking about the questions, one man suddenly had a realization. He remembered that the examiner had only mentioned 3 rules, which meant that as long as they didn't break those 3 rules, they could do anything else. So, he stood up from his seat and began to move around casually. Seeing that the nearby security guard didn't react, he started greeting the other candidates. It turned out that the rules only prohibited talking to the examiner or the security guards, but didn't say anything about talking to the other candidates. Seeing that the man's behavior was allowed, the others also stopped being silent and began discussing the blank test paper. At this point, Anna suddenly stood up. She guessed that there might be some chemical agent on the test paper that would reveal the questions when exposed to light. The candidates thought this made sense, so they held the test paper close to the light in the room. But after testing, the paper showed no change. Then, William thought that maybe only special lights, like ultraviolet or infrared, would work, but there were no such lights in the room. At that moment, Rachel noticed an emergency light on the wall. To verify their guess, they immediately smashed the light on the wall. Suddenly, the blue emergency light came on. They thought they could finally see the questions, but after testing, the test paper remained blank. Lucas thought that there might be other lights in the room. Just then, Jessica, being attentive, noticed another light on the wall, and they immediately realized this might be the light they were looking for. They smashed the emergency light and the room was filled with red light. Unfortunately, after testing, the questions still couldn't be seen on the paper. Seeing that there was only 1 hour left in the exam, everyone started to panic. At this point, Jack guessed that the test paper might be made of special materials, so he picked up the test paper of the person who had been eliminated and started drawing on it, but the paper still didn't change. Jack then tore the test paper in half, gave one half to Lucas to test with saliva, and tested the other half himself with urine. In the end, the whole test paper was destroyed, but the questions still didn't appear.